high school, my buddy called me and said, hey, I need you to go with me. My dad said we got to go dump some trash at the trash dump. Well, we lived in the city and the trash dump was way out in the country. And so we began to go to the trash dump. And all of a sudden, my buddy pulls off the side of a country road and just throws the trash off to the side of the road. I said, you can't do that. He says, no one will ever know. Well, a little bit later, there's a phone call to his dad. And this man was a farmer. And he was very angry. And he said, you dumped your trash on my property. Either you come and pick it up or I'm calling the police. Well, how did he know? Be sure your sin will find you out. What my buddy did not know was in the trash was some mail with his dad's address and phone number and name. Well, there's a great lesson there. Be sure that what is hidden will one day come to light. We're back at the cabin again. I wish my friend had thought about our verse for today. In Numbers 32:23, and you've sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. My friend never thought that the owner of that land would find an envelope with a name, an address, and a phone number, and he would get caught. God has more than a name, address, and a phone number. God knows every secret thought of our hearts. He knows every act. Solomon, the wisest man on earth, would say this in Ecclesiastes 12:14, for God will bring every work into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. Today, crimes are now solved through DNA. You know, God is the creator of DNA. In our last two videos, we looked at God's grace and mercy in forgiving our sins. We saw that God buries our sins in the depth of the sea. We saw that God separates our sins as far as the east is from the west. We saw in previous videos, He remembers our sins no more. But it's based upon us trusting God's provision in Jesus Christ. Now, the opposite is true of those who do not provide or believe in God's provision. There is a warning here. We cannot bury our sins in the depths of the sea. We cannot hide our sins as far as the east is from the west. God will remember every act and every thought. And all of our sins are written down in God's book. And the Bible tells us that one day that book will be open. In Joshua chapter 7, we have the story in which Joshua and Israel defeated Jericho. God had told them that they are not to covet the treasure of Jericho, not to take the gold, the silver, and the precious treasures. But there was one soldier by the name of Achan, and he took gold and silver, and he hid it in his tent. And when Joshua and Israel went to the next battle, they were defeated at a little town called Ai. When Joshua cried out to God, God, why we were defeated? And God said, because there's secret sin in the camp. God saw the hidden sin of Achan, where he buried the silver and gold. Jesus would say this in Luke 12:2, for there's nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that shall not be made known. Therefore, whatever you've spoken in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you've spoken in the ear in inner rooms will be proclaimed upon housetops. Notice the contrast between those who receive God's forgiveness and those who never come to Christ. It is said that some have the ability to turn your TV on and your laptop on and actually watch you. There are some who have hidden sins that will be made public. Rather than forgive and forget our sins, some people are waiting for God to reveal their sins. In Revelation chapter 20, verse 12, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. Now here's the scary part, the warning, the sad part. and the dead were raised up, and the dead were judged according to their works by the things which were written in the books. Now here's the solemn warning. We can have our sins buried in the depths of the sea. We can have our sins separated as far as the east is from the west, and remember no more because of Jesus. But if we do not come to Jesus and His provision, God knows every sin, and every sin will be exposed, and we will be judged. Judged because we did not go where God judged our sin on the cross. Another great verse for today, Numbers 32:23. You have sinned against the Lord, and be sure your sin will find you out. Oh, my friend, if you've not been saved, if you've not come to the cross and received God's forgiveness, I pray you do so today. God bless you, my friend.